Okay, so today we're going to be making watercolor thank you cards to celebrate Thanksgiving and show appreciation for people that we care about in our lives. On your table, you'll see a placemat showing you where everything should go. So we've got watercolors, we've got Sharpies, scissors, a can for warm water, a can for cool water, glue, a little thing of glue that's been glued down to your table. So please don't try to rip it off. When you go to open it, you'll just carefully remove the top, okay? And then place the top back on when you're not using it, okay? And then your paint brushes. So when at the end of class, you'll throw all of your paper towels away, any scraps you have, and you're going to set your paper up just like this again, okay? So make sure you keep everything nice and neat. And then we're going to get started on our project. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the cardstock that's half the size of a sheet of paper. You're going to need your cardstock. You will eventually need a sheet of computer paper, and you'll need a little small leaf printout. But for right now, we're just going to start with our cardstock. This is going to be the cover of your card. So you get to decide if you want it to be vertical or horizontal. It doesn't matter, but it does change the way your card will open. So your card will end up opening like a book. So if your card is vertical, it's going to be opening from like this, from left to right. If it is horizontal, it's going to open like this from top to bottom. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind for later. I'm going to do my card horizontal. So you're going to draw on the front. You can draw whatever you would like. You can draw the words thankful, grateful. You could write I appreciate you, whatever you want to do to show appreciation to this person that you care about. So you're going to start in pencil. If you don't have a pencil, use a colored pencil. Just draw lightly. And I'm going to write the word thankful. I'm going to fill the page, try to make it nice and neat. I know you can't really see it because I drew lightly. And once I'm satisfied with the way this looks, I'll take one of the Sharpies and I'll trace around it. And take your time, do a really good job, because this is going to be the first thing that that person sees when they look at your card. All right. If you don't know how to write in cursive, that's okay. All you have to do to write in cursive is write in print and then connect the letters together. And it turns into cursive. All right, so now we're going to make some of the letters thicker in certain places. So you just decide where you want it to be thicker, draw another line right next to it, and then shade that line in. And you can do this wherever you like. This will make it look more like calligraphy. It'll also make your card a little bit fancier. So I'm going to finish this up off camera, and then you should pause the video here until you're all caught up, okay? And then we're going to start painting together. All right, so now that I've got my word all stenciled out how I like it, I've made some of the lines thicker, I left some alone. Then I can do some little decorative swirls. If you want, you don't have to. It just kind of makes it a little fancier. So now that you've done that, you're going to take your card, you're going to put it on top of a paper towel, and then we're going to use the wet on wet technique. Remember, we learned this when we were doing watercolor techniques of like a week ago. You're going to start with water and paint the entire thing in water. And you want your paper to be shiny. Completely saturate your paper so that your paint will spread. And don't rub hard or you'll make your paper peel up. So now you have to decide if you want to do warm colors or cool colors. Warm colors are on this side. So red, orange, yellow, and brown are warm colors. Cool colors are green, blue, purple. Okay, so you're going to pick which one you need to do. I'm going to be doing cool colors on my card because I want to do warm colors for the decorations. So get your brush wet, saturate your colors. And remember, we don't dig into watercolor. We make it nice and watery so that when we press, it'll spread. And you can even drop more water onto it to get it to spread better. When you want to change colors, wash your brush out and then choose your next color. The last warm color, cool color I'm going to use is blue. And you notice I'm making sure my paint isn't super dark. You want to be able to read that word you wrote. If your paper starts to dry up while you're still painting, you can just add more water to it and that'll help spread. You can also pick it up and kind of like tilt it a little bit and see what kind of effect you get there. You want to be careful not to overmix or you're going to end up with a muddy, yucky color. Okay. Now I'm going to let that dry. If you want to take your paper towel, you could take your paper towel at this point. You could kind of crunch it up and you could press and pick up some of the water and you'll also create some really cool texture, but you don't have to. Just an option. All right. I'm happy with this. I'm going to let this dry. So I'll set this aside, let it dry. And then the next thing we're going to do is work on our leaves. Okay. So dry your table off, work on your leaves. This paper towel is still good. Don't throw it away. So now while this is drying, I'm doing the leaves. Before I start on the leaves, I'm going to take a pencil and you're just going to kind of like press into it. You can also use the back of your paintbrush to press into it and you're going to draw the veins, okay? So in fact, I'll use the back of the paintbrush. So using the back of my paintbrush, I'm going to be drawing. You kind of have to press hard, but be careful not to break your paintbrush. So I'm going to draw these veins in. And the veins are the things that run down the leaves, you know, the little lines that go down the leaves. You'll have to press pretty hard for them to show up. And the real magic will happen when we paint them. And there's no wrong way to do it. You can add as many veins or as few veins as you like. But when you're doing it, try to think of what a leaf actually looks like and try to mimic that. Okay, you can kind of see where I've pressed in. Do you see that? There aren't actual pencil lines there. Those are just dents where I've pressed really hard on the paper. Okay. So if you're not done with that, pause the video so that you can get all caught up. Okay. So now that I've got my veins drawn on, I'm going to start painting these. I painted my card itself cool colors. So I'm going to be painting these warm. Actually, before we can start, you have to cut your leaves out. So get your scissors. And you're going to start by going around the leaves and just cut the basic shapes out first. I know, I'm sorry, it's hard to see. But see how I'm just like cutting around the leaves, basic shapes first? And if you cut from the back of your scissors, like I'm doing, see, put them in your hand like this. The thumb goes in the small part. The rest of your fingers go in the big one. Keep your fingers away from the blade. Open it really wide. And then move it with your non-dominant hand. It'll be easier to cut. So now I'm just going to cut the outlines of the leaves. Okay. Make sure the trash makes it into the trash can. And I'm going to cut the rest of these leaves out off camera. You should do the same. Pause the video here. If you're struggling to cut your leaves out, how you do it is open your scissors up nice and wide, hold them with your dominant hand, and then start at one of the points, and then use your non-dominant hand to turn your leaf while you squeeze with the dominant hand. So the dominant hand never moves except to make another, like to open and close, and the non-dominant hand guides the leaf through the line so that your dominant hand can just focus on cutting. It's really important when you're using the scissors that you're actually looking at what you're doing and you're not like looking around the room because you don't want to get cut. These are not baby scissors, they are sharp. So please be careful. And see how I just trim off the big edges? Like if I've got an edge, I trim it before I go to the next piece. All right, so once you've got all of your leaves cut out, you'll gather up all of your trash into a pile, sweep it into your hand, and take it to the trash can. Now we're going to paint our leaves. So with our paper towel that we were using before, this is still good. It's a little wet. It's fine. It's going to get wet again. Okay. We're going to take our leaves and one at a time, you'll put them in your hand and you're going to smush them carefully. Okay. Just crinkle them up carefully. Then you will carefully open them back up. And these crinkles will give them texture as if they were real. Okay. So you can kind of see the texture on this one. Okay. So spend some time, smush your leaves. Think about it as you're doing it. Try not to rip them when you take them apart, like when you open them back up. You'll have to do it very carefully. It's best to do this before you get them wet because once you start painting them, they will rip easily if you haven't already done this. You have to crinkle them when they're completely dry. Take your time, do one at a time. It's okay if your leaf rips a little. Leaves in the wild do rip a little once they hit the ground sometimes, so it's really not a big deal and nothing to be upset about. If your leaf rips, it is still good. All right. So now that I've got all of my leaves crinkled and ready to go, I'm going to start painting them in warm colors. So for this one, you're going to dip your brush in water. You're going to choose your warm colors. So that's red, orange, and yellow and brown. And you'll start painting them on. You actually want your paint a lot darker than you did before. So I'm just going to start painting some red all over, and I'll switch colors in a few. But right now I'm just worried about getting red paint. And I'm leaving spots for the other colors. And there's really no right or wrong way to do it. We are just painting paint directly onto the leaf. So this is not a wet on wet technique this time. I have my paper towel underneath so that I won't have to clean up as much. All right, once you're done with that color, you wash your brush out, then choose your next color. I think next I'm going to do brown. And the same process again. And these actually need a little bit of water now that I'm looking at them. They're getting kind of flat. So if you want your crinkles to show up better, get some water on there because the paint will settle into the crinkles. So see, just putting some water on there, then getting the color, dabbing that on, putting some water on it. And it's okay to make adjustments as you go. Like I noticed my crinkles weren't showing up. That's the whole point of doing the crinkles. So make sure you can actually see them. Thin out your paint if you need to. And paint on top of that paper towel so you're not getting your table filthy. You can go back and add some orange. And you don't want any white spaces left on your leaves at all. Make sure you clean out your brush in between colors. I'm doing yellow now. And you'll notice I'm starting to layer colors on top of colors that are already there. Oops. And now I'm going to paint all of my little leaf stems dark brown. To do this, I'm going to start with the brown, make sure I paint them brown. And then I'm going to wash my brush out. touch the black and just do a little bit of black just on the stem, not a lot. If you feel like you did too much, you can go back and add more brown. And you can also spot that dark brown that made onto your leaves too. Okay, now when you're happy with these, you're gonna pick them up carefully and move them to a dry part, like to a dry paper towel. So carefully pick them up, move them to a dry paper towel. Okay, and that's what our leaves look like. So then you can use your wet paper towel and clean up your space and go throw this one away. This one's done now. Okay, so now these guys need to dry and this needs to dry. So this one's actually, this is pretty much almost dry by now. So I'm gonna set that aside. I'm going to set this aside. I'm gonna make sure my table is totally dry and clean. Using part of my dry paper towel. Make sure my table is totally dry and clean. I'm gonna put my paint back up out of the way. Okay. All right, so now we're going to work on the inside of our card. So you've got a piece of computer paper at your table, so you're going to fold it in half, okay? Like match up the corners, fold it corner to corner, and then crease it. All right, so if your card was going to be vertical, it would open like this, and it would open like this, like a book, and you would write your note on this side of the card, okay? If your picture is horizontal, which means it goes this way, okay, then it opens like this, and you write your note right here. So remember, my picture was horizontal, so I'm going to write my note right here. You'll write in pencil first. And remember, you spent some time on this, so you want to do a nice job. Take your time when you're writing your note. So first decide who you want to write to and what you'd like to say. But I'll give you a sentence starter to start. All right. So it says, Dear blank, thank you for blank and blank. I appreciate you because blank. My favorite thing about your class is blank and blank. Thank you for everything you do. Sincerely, and then you would write your name down here, okay? When you're done with that, you close your card up, and you should have done that in pencil. If you have done it in pencil, you can trace over it with Sharpie now. So now it's time to attach all of this stuff together and assemble our card. So I am actually going to, it's going to go like this part on top and then the leaves on top of this. Okay. So, but I'm going to actually open my card up because I don't want my writing to get all dirty. Remember, we've cleaned our table. So I'm going to put this face down so that my writing faces the table. All right. And then the front of my card is going to go here like that. Okay. So I've put these little glue things on your table. They're like hot glued to the table, so please don't try to rip them off. You're just going to open the lid. Please don't lose the lid. And this is just regular Elmer's glue. You're going to take a paper towel, just like a little piece of your paper towel that your leaves are drying on, because your leaves are dry by now, and just kind of like roll it up a little bit. Okay. Then you're going to dip your paper towel in the glue, wipe the extra off on the side, and use your paper towel to spread glue across the back of your paper. So you can see how I'm using glue, my paper towel, to spread glue across my paper. And I'll just do like an X in the middle. Okay. All right. Now, while my glue is still wet, I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick it to the front cover. It's a little bit bigger than your paper, so just keep that in mind and press it down. Now, before I close it up, I'm going to flip it over, make sure I don't have any glue hanging off the edges. If I do, I'm going to rub that down really quick using the clean, flat part of my palm, just pressing this down, making sure it's really on there. Now, I'm going to close my card up, and I've got all my leaves. So I'm going to use my glue paper towel, dip it back in the glue, put a few dots of glue on my leaves, and stick them wherever I want them to be. And make sure you plan out where you want them before you stick them. Because once you've stuck them, they're probably not coming back up. And it's okay not to glue the whole thing down. Like, see, I've got pieces that kind of like flip up a little bit. That leads visual interest to your card. It's fine. They don't need to be fully glued down. That's why part of why we crinkled them up. But the cover of your card does need to be fully glued down. See, just a few dots. I think I'm going to do more right here. And I've saved one leaf because I think I want to put a leaf on the inside. It's really important that this one you only put a little bit of glue on because you don't want it to make your card glue shut. And you can do all your leaves on the outside if you want, but I'm going to put my leaf right here. And there you go. Your card is complete. You'll throw your glue paper towel away, clean up any scraps, make sure you actually cap your glue. And then in between classes, if you've written this to a teacher or somebody in the building, you'll go give it to that person. If you wrote it for your parents, you'll take it home and go give it to them. All right, guys, have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy your break. Be safe and have fun.